So in this video, we're going to talk about the hero's journey, habits, success. So if you're familiar with the idea of the hero's journey, it's a very popular idea in literature. Many people follow this story arc, and you'll see it in almost every single movie, whether it's any superhero movie. Think about Superman, Batman, any of these movies, or any old school folklore, the story of Odysseus, the story of Hercules. Follow any of these stories. There's a character, and the character has to go through these trials, and then there's all these trials, and then there's something at risk that they have to fight for, and then they find a deeper sense of self, and then they rise to the occasion amidst all the turmoil and trials and tribulation that's going on in their life. And then they overcome and vanquish evil. So many of us fall in love with this idea, and it's a very popular idea. When you follow literature, you'll see many stories that follow the hero's journey. There's this character arc of development, but also this idea of heroism. Now, we fall in love with this idea because it's not real. Many of us want it to be real. We love this idea of being heroic. But is heroism actually how things work? No. In most cases, most people will never ever rise to the occasion. That's just not how it works. If you have any friends who are in the Marines, they have this quote, they have this saying that says, you don't rise to the occasion, but you fall to the level of your training. Now, if you think about that quote, rising to the occasion means that you are not at a certain level, but there's a demand placed on you and you rise to that level and you're able to operate at that level. But most people, when there is a crisis situation and they're forced to rise to a level, you'll find that you're going to be in that situation of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And for a lot of people, they go into that deer in the headlights. They go into panic mode. What do I do now? I've never been here. I don't know how to operate here. And they go into that deer in the headlights moment. Instead of the fight response, they go into either flight or freeze, or sometimes even fawn. That's one of the ones that's lesser talked about. So how do you really become heroic? How do you actually rise to the occasion? If you really can't rise to the occasion, how do you actually train yourself so that you can be heroic, right? The Marines said that you don't rise to the level you don't rise to the occasion, but you fall to the level of your training. That means that once that crisis happens, you actually fall to the level that you have been trained at. So if you're like most people, you don't even think to train. You don't even think to prepare. You don't even think to get yourself ready. But let's take a look from a different perspective. Maybe you're someone who has a day job, a 9-to-5. Well, your job didn't hire you to necessarily rise to the level of the occasion. They actually hired you based off of the training. So based off the training that they provide you in the first few months, their hope is that you can at least fall to that level of training. And over time, they can grow you, they can cultivate you, they can actually help you get there. There's an importance to this idea of training. We have to get into this idea, this mindset that training is not a bad thing, that preparation is not a bad thing. You know, Bruce Lee has a quote where he said, "I don't fear the man who knows 10,000 strikes. I fear the man who has practiced one strike 10,000 times." Why did Bruce Lee say that? Because the thing is, training when you train over and over and over and over, one method, one strike, over and over and over and over, it's going to be lights out for anybody who gets in that person's way. So in the same way, when we think about heroism, we think about training, if you can cultivate a specific plan of action that helps you in those moments of crisis, you will fall to that level of training. And if your level of training is heroic, you will be heroic in that situation. You will be the person that does not blink when the whole house is on fire, because they know exactly how to deal with that situation. So I encourage you, if you have not thought about training in that way, to find the things that are important to you for those moments of crisis, that are important to you in those moments of demand, and find those things and practice those things daily. Make a ritual out of them. Make a habit out of them. In the next few videos in my YouTube page, I'm going to be sharing tips and psychology tips about how to build habits that last a lifetime, even when there are things that take you out of the game. Sometimes people have a difficult time building habits. You know, they hear this idea that it takes 21 to 60 days to build a habit, and they find that so daunting. But at the same time, addictions are so easy to build, yet habits that are positive and helpful might be a little bit more challenging. Why is that? We're going to go deeper into that on my channel a little bit more. We're going to talk about leadership principles. If you've liked this video and you found value in it, like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll see you in the next one.